Hello everyone, Coach Carole here with you, and today's theme is all about using Chat GPT Omni to help with your writing and in creating a story. This is like a co-intelligence project in my mind, where I, the writer, team up with AI, the mentor, to create the backbones, the plot, the character arcs, and the storyline for a new fictional tale. So writing with AI has its benefits. It really is efficient, and it definitely has a creativity boost. It's certainly overcoming writer's block. So Chat GPT Omni is the latest in the suite of artificial intelligence tools coming from OpenAI. Now, I've been using it now for some weeks with great gusto, and I'm having a lot of fun in creating my stories that way. This one is not about an ancestral story of humans. This one is about an ancestral story of dragons. And I began this whole thing by creating, or having Chat Omni create an image of a dragon that I might like to use with this story. And here is Drayton Dragon. Chat Omni is not really good at spelling, so I eventually edited this picture to cut out any of the writing that was showing there. But this image then inspired me to think of a storyline and to get Chat GPT Omni to help me with that. So heading over to Chat now, I asked it the question, what is your name? And then I think you have some relatives in the book dragon family. What's your lineage? Now, Chat GPT Omni knows me very well because I've given it a great deal of information about what my fields of fascination are, including genealogy and ancestral storytelling. So it launched straight into some information about Drayton, the book dragon, and his lineage. So an ancestor in the Wayback Machine, Dracus Bibliothecus, who appeared in ancient times. And his speciality was being the guardian of the Great Library of Alexandria. Now, I didn't have any indication for ChatGPT in my instructions. It came up with that itself. And the legacy here is that Dracus was known for his unparalleled knowledge and protective nature over ancient scrolls and manuscripts. So that's the line of the story that really appeals to me. It then went on to talk about other members of his lineage, his great-grandmother, Lorelei Lexicon, keeper of medieval manuscripts, his grandmother, Seraphina Storyweaver, Victorian novelist and storyteller, and Mortimer Manuscript, his father, who was a genealogical researcher and historian. So that gave me an idea. Let's carry this forward and make a story. So I then asked it to give some ideas for an ebook featuring Drayton and his ancestors. And I asked for titles, chapters, plot, themes, scenes, and other components of an outline. The surprising elements came through immediately for me. The ideas for an ebook really resonated for me, and number 3 stood out. This one is all about the book dragon heritage. And it then went on to give me chapters and a plot outline, including a prologue. Chapter 1 is about Dracus. Chapter 2 about Lorelei. Chapter 3 about Balthazar. Chapter 4 about Seraphina Storyweaver. And Chapter 5 about Mortimer Manuscript. So I've got the beginnings of a story plot with characters, thanks to Chat GPT Omni. And my favorite tool is to use Dabble for creating my stories. So over here in my Dabble writer, I began my manuscript and called it The Guardians of Knowledge, Drayton Dragon's Heritage. Changed it a little bit. Here in the first instance is the text of the prologue that Chat GPT Omni came up with. Now I have since modified this, edited, and changed it a little to put it into my spin. It's a really neat way to begin the story about Drayton and the fact that his own journey was about to begin, a quest that would take him through time and space, piecing together the fragmented tales of his ancestors. It set my sights then on how we could unfurl this story and to include images along the way. So in here I have the next image that I asked Omni to create, which is Drayton contemplating the start of his journey in the library with a cup of tea. And that set me again on another journey with Chat GPT 4. As you can see here in this particular conversation, there are many different prompts. There's the one that I asked for the prologue, and I've asked specifically for it to pitch the language at college level using a quirky style of writing, a mixture of Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman, and hints of humour in the framework for this ebook. And it's done that neatly. I sometimes need to remind him of that need for the quirky style of writing, but it's coming together quite well with that instruction. So that was the prologue that you saw. So then goes on to chapter 1, which is about Dracus, and brings up things like the hidden manuscript, the life of this ancestor, a whisper of mystery, and unfolding the legacy, and so on. So I can then copy the content from here and paste it back here in my Dabble writer so that I have the text ready to edit and change into my own style. I have things like Quillbot attached, and it has its own built-in editing tools, so I can make changes simply along the way. Every now and then, I find that I'm using passive voice, so being able to change it immediately into active voice is a great tool. And you can see that the chapters are now building. I'm up to chapter 5. I'll just copy from here down to the end. And in this case, I'm using the copy function of your keyboard, the Control-C, so that it picks up any formatting in the text. Go back over here, and yes, it looks like I've pasted that in correctly. And then I can keep going with my editing here. So it's a neat process. I sometimes use Canva to create my images, but more often than not, I will use ChatGPT 4 in the context of the story. So that keeps some continuity happening. So in this case, we've brought in a new person whose name is Salander Scrollkeeper. So I want a new image here, so I'm going to ask it to draw one. And my favorite is steampunk style. And she is looking at ancient texts. And then see what it can do with that new image. I find that Omni is a little bit quicker in creating things like images and stories and outlines than it has been before. So these are the advantages of having the subscription to Chat GPT 4 and, in this case, Omni. So this is Salander Scrollkeeper, and she is indeed looking at ancient scripts. So in order to get that image, I will download it and place it into my folder system. And now I have a new image that I can add to that chapter 4. All right, so you can see what a difference it makes having a friend like Chat GPT Omni. Have a go at this yourself. If you're writing a mystery story or any kind of genre really, start with an image that you have in your mind of one of your characters and then have fun in asking questions of Chat GPT to develop your story line, your plot, your characters, and the scenes. I'll be back with more later. I hope you've enjoyed this little look at Chat GPT Omni for helping in creating your fictional stories, in generating ideas, writing scenes, being able to edit and refine it, and finally to integrate it into your own content of original writing.